welcome you all to the launch of the Australian National Total Body Test Facility, and welcome you all to those of you online too. My name is Fernando Calamanti, and I'm going to be co-chairing this session with Steve Meikle, who has been instrumental for get us here, the vision get us here. And I want to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the Northern Sydney region in which we are meeting today here at the Collins Institute. And they are the Cammeraygal, Garinga, and Darug peoples. We pay our respects to those who have cared and continue to care for country. And as many of you may have heard me say in the past, 60,000 years is quite hard to visualize in your head, or at least it is for me. So if you shrink those 60,000 years into just 60 seconds, that is easier for us to think about that time scale. In those 60 seconds time scale, the time since the arrival of the first fleet is just over 200 milliseconds, which is the blink of an eye. So it puts in perspective all the history and culture that has been in this land before that first fleet arrived. So with that, I'd like to introduce Professor Simon Ringer. He's Pro-Vice Chancellor of Research Infrastructure at the University of Sydney, and also very important in this get us to this point. So Simon,
thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Terrific. Welcome to everybody here in the room and to everybody online. Let me also extend my acknowledgement of First Nations people and to any First Nations folks that might be participating as a delegate today. We want to make you especially welcome. Well, this is a great day, and it is so great to see such a fabulous program put together here. We thought, of course, it's totally proper that having gone from this old situation where we were having meetings, and Steve Meikle's a name that you're going to hear a few times today because Steve was getting us together around a table and putting words into the same sentence that we weren't used to seeing, like total body PET. And this was a pretty disruptive new thing. And it was just at the time, folks, where we had a new Chief Scientist of Australia, Alan Finkel. He was very early in the job, and quite early in his tenure, he'd been briefed to get out and create an update of the National Research Infrastructure Mode. Steve and Fernando and various others of us thought, okay, let's get Alan Finkel onto campus, and we did. And a lot of, the full press, we put the full press in there, and Alan and his fabulous team did a mighty job with passing the many and various propositions for Australia's National Research Infrastructure Roadmap. And this little bit wound up in there on about page 5, as I recall. And that was exciting for us, because then we could start working with the NCRIS bureaucrats who are absolute champions there in Canberra. We have a fantastic team that are running the NCRIS program, and work with them to then kind of crab walk this out of a national research infrastructure roadmap and into a business plan of an NCRIS facility, the National Imaging Facility. And so Graham Galloway was then hard at work. His successor, Wojtek, and Margaret Harding, who some of you heard earlier, the chair of the National Imaging Facility, began their work to challenge us around how we could actually put a partnership together. And so, between that and sort of getting to here, were just tons of work. And I just want to take a second here to acknowledge a few of the people. Fernando Calamanti is the director of Sydney Imaging and has been on this journey from the get-go, as I say, alongside Steve, who was really, one of the really key thought leaders that brought this idea to our attention. Paul Roach and Dale Bailey, absolutely key champions of this idea. Also, remarkable thought leaders to conceive of not only the importance of this from a clinical perspective, its importance as a research from the research perspective, and that thinking that this group were able to bring us that this was important for our clinical outcomes, it was important for our research outcomes, really has been pervasive all the way through as we hustled this initiative on its way through. Beck Gonzalez, if she's in the room, a big acknowledgement to you for your work in making this happen. Tim Dixon, who some of us know, also a key person. And then there were the many and various folks in the procurement teams and the legal teams that did so much to get us to here. So it really has been something of a journey, and there's pictures here of a machine going down the famous transit lounge, and getting to this point. And we could look at these pictures all day, folks, because we like them, and we did a lot of work to get to here. So we got a lot of them. But then as we get into it, we thought, well, we had a VIP session earlier this morning insofar as we had some of the leaders of the LHD and the university in a huddle talking about the Australian National Total Body PET facility, and that's totally appropriate, and that was wonderful. But of course, we always thought that we were going to launch the Australian National Total Body PET facility and celebrate our partnership with a scientific workshop, and that's what we're doing here today. And of course, there's some familiar faces there. That's Georgios over there on the left, who's a key person who is sitting, waiting at the end of the portal. When you go onto that research portal, Georgios is there, Steve Meikle, of course, Paul Roach, Dale Bailey, and we have the wonderful Katie Ockenden, who's been a fantastic champion of this project all the way through. Katie, your fingerprints are all over so much of what's happened here. And Sophie Curran, thank you, Sophie, as well, for getting us to here. And Fernando, yeah, it's the dream team is what it is. So it's just my great pleasure to acknowledge that fabulous team. Of course, we're going to hear now from researchers working in the field as to these benefits and why those benefits are there and how they impact on the kind of research that we want to do and the kind of clinical works that are coming through the system. And so, stand by for that. And I guess it's pretty fitting that when you think of this in terms of a portal, this is it at a glance, really. You've got clinical use, which our colleagues in the LHD and the nuclear medicine department are running. We've got our partnerships here that have come in and put the OPEX and the CAPEX together to do this. It's a very significant investment over 5 years. And then there's the Sydney Imaging team at the university that are running the research portal. And of course, if you're here from UNSW, and I know some are, if you're here from Monash, if you're here from one of our other great universities in Australia, if you're here from another research organisation, CSIRO, etc., ANSTO, totally, this is a fully open access research facility, and it's your facility, and we hope you make great use of it. So look, with that, I guess in a sense this completes, we now have all of the koala stamps that can get us from preclinical studies in Sydney Imaging through to clinical trials and clinical studies. This is a very important step up in terms of the university's commitment to imaging, and in particular in this instance clinical imaging technology, because it fits to the wider vision of Sydney Imaging and what Fernando Calamonte and his team are doing there in terms of a research service. So it's very proper that, we have a little portal here, there's a QR code, and you can leap onto that, and you'll find your way easily enough into the application process for the projects. I'm going to ask Steve to come up and introduce Simon Cherry. Just before he does, I'm sure Steve's going to say this, but it's fantastic, Simon, that you're in the country, and we're looking forward to Steve's introduction, because Simon's got his own special part in the total body PET story. Okay, Steve, over to you. Thank you.